that door to cut down some of the noise. Claude, excuse me.
You could easily ask them to stop it.
Oh, they've got their work to do.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't close the door for you.
Yeah, were you ever required to treat the Japanese?
Yes, I had to treat the Japanese camp commander a few times, and I remember one of the guards, I had to treat him. He got a dose of gonorrhea, and called me out about 3 o'clock one morning to treat him. I took a dim view of that, and I had learnt a fair bit of Japanese by that time, probably low-class Japanese expressions, and I was able to use quite a lot of them on this chap. This was one of the guards we called Buffhead. Oh. He wasn't very bright.
Was he a Korean or a Jap?
I think he was a Jap. I must confess that sometimes I wasn't too sure who was a Korean and who was a Jap.
Yes.
You see, the Japanese had taken over Korea in about 1904, and so there was a big mixture.
Yes. Now, when the rail was completed, I think around October of 1943, you were moved back down into the southern end of the railway.
Yes.
To Tamakan, was it?
Canberra, I think it was.
Canberra.
Yes. Well, it might have been Tamakan. We were at Tamakan camp for a while, and I think Tamakan, if my memory is correct, was against the bridge that was later called the bridge over the River Kwai.
Yes, it's adjacent to it on the maps that I look at. But from the maps that I look at, it's very close to the as you say, the so-called bridge over the River Kwai. And therefore, did you experience the Allied attempts to bomb the bridge?
Oh yes. On the first occasion, I heard some aeroplanes coming. I was in my hospital hut. We had 3 line doctors. Doctors had been on major camps on the line, and each had a hospital hut he serviced. And I looked outside and I could see these Allied aircraft coming in. It was a wonderful sight. And I was watching them, and then suddenly I realised that they were machine gunning us and dropping some bombs. We had quite a lot of casualties from that occasion. My hospital hut survived, but the other 2 hospital huts were buried by the bombs. And they didn't do any damage to the bridge. I think we lost 40 people that night. Then subsequently, they were quite often coming along to bomb various parts of the railway at night. And the Japs established a warning system that, such as they had in England, warnings we could knew when the planes were coming. They would mainly come along at night. But then, on quite a few occasions, they made daylight raids on this bridge. Some of the bombs would fall into the river. They never did much damage to the bridge, and the troops, prisoners, had to get the bombs out of the river, but the Japs brought along their people, their experts, to defuse them. Eventually, this camp on the right against this bridge was not a very healthy place because the Japs had an ack post up on the top of the hill just outside the border of the camp, and the planes coming over used to try and knock out this ack post, and then come over at very low altitude and bombed the bridge. Eventually the camp was moved to more or less river flats, which were quite nice. It was a much better place.
Was it safe to swim in the river?
Oh yes, yes, quite right.
It would help with keeping people clean and slightly more healthy.
Oh, it was quite good. Yes, and Les Cody, who wrote the book,
yes,
Ghost in Khaki, and I were probably the last two people, Caucasians, to walk across the bridge over the River Kwai.
Is that so?
We went across at midnight last with the end of the column, going to the new camp, and we went across about midday, and the bridge was blown out at about 3 o'clock that afternoon.
Yes.
And the Japs rebuilt it later, further up the river.
Yes, that must have been. So there's the wooden bridge. Both bridges were destroyed, weren't they? The wooden bridge and
this bridge was a steel bridge.
Yes, the steel one, which they brought up from Malaya.
Yes.
Or Java, or somewhere down
Yes.
south. Now, after you left Tamarkan, or Canberra, as you correct me, did you get back into Changi yourself? Did you go back to Singapore?
Yes, I did. Did eventually. When the war ended, I was in a fairly big camp, and I'd been out on a work party for about 3 weeks. They were doing some building an aerodrome. The work wasn't terribly hard at that time. And then we were brought back by motor truck to the camp one morning, and when we got back we found the Union Jack was flying. That's how we knew that the war had ended.
Yes.
It was a most wonderful sight.
I'm sure it was. Did you have any radios in your camp? Were you aware, did you get any news at all?
Not, well, we didn't have any for the 3 weeks were out before the war ended. It was a complete surprise to us when we came in. Quite often there was a radio communication somewhere in the camp. You had to be very careful about it, because anybody with a radio course would have been shot straight away.
Yes.
But the scheme was that you somehow or the news would be gradually infiltrated through the camp.
Now, Major Bert Saggers, Major Bert Saggers, who you would know, did you catch up with him at the end of the war, or?
No, no.
Not till you got back to Australia?
I don't think I saw Bert Saggers after we came back.
Because he never went up to the Burma end. He was always down in the vicinity of
He was in the Thai side.
Yes.
But I think the people on the Thai side had a worse time than we did in Burma.
Yes. I have read that, where they said if you had a choice, it was better to have been in Burma than certainly in the upper part of Thailand.